This Pennsylvania stone farmhouse looks historic, but the story has a little bit of a twist. It involves a little bit of Jackie Kennedy, a little bit of Mike Brady, and a whole lot of Frank Auspitz. I'll tell you its story, and I'll show you how I would decorate it, if it were mine. It was carefully designed to look like an 18th century farmhouse, but it was built in 1968, and it has 3,971 square feet. It was designed by Frank Auspitz. He was a self-educated expert in 18th century architecture and furniture. The interior has poplar moldings and careful attention to detail and craftsmanship. It has beautiful colonial-style built-ins with intricate millwork and antique hardware. And this particular room could be decorated like this. Believe it or not, this design is from a different house, but I'll get into that. For now, it's worth noting that Auspitz liked arch cabinets in his green fireplace surrounds. He also apparently had a thing for green moldings and chevron front doors with transom windows. And colonial era dining room fireplaces. And these chestnut beams in this house were sourced from another historic Pennsylvania property. Now, this dining room is actually part of the kitchen, as you'll see here. So if it were mine, I would situate a cozy morning spot next to the windows. This design is by Peter Zimmerman Architects, and I like how the round table breaks up the straight lines of the kitchen cabinets, and it looks like an old pub table pulled up next to the hearth. That room connects to this mudroom space with its brick floor, which was another Auspitz favorite, but I would tie it more into his previous design with more green cabinetry, like this. And it's again by Peter Zimmerman Architects. And this bonus room rounds out our tour of the first floor. Wouldn't it make a great office with a desk tucked under that window? So when we go upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms. And in this one, again, we see the Auspitz touch with the paneled wall and the arched cabinet next to the fireplace. So I was able to match it with the perfect design for it from another house he designed. The house also has 4 bathrooms. And here's one of the bedrooms. Apparently, Frank Auspitz got his start in business as a traveling salesman. His mother owned Mountford's corset shop in New York. This is another bedroom, by the way. So that's where Frank got his start in business, but I find it very strange that a corset shop would have a traveling salesman. But anyway, I'm glad he discovered his true calling. I love rooms like this with all the quirky touches. It makes this house kind of a storybook house. Like this step down into the bathroom, as if it was an addition to the house, but it was obviously planned that way. So going down to the lower level, you can't really call this a basement. You can see the brick floors again that Auspitz liked to use, and the fine cabinetry that's throughout the home. And it used to serve as a doctor's office down here, so it makes me wonder if he or she kept instruments on those beautiful built-in cabinets. There's also a charming outbuilding and pretty garden space. Here's a better view of that charming outbuilding. And there's a boxwood edged garden room here. There are beautiful trees on the property. It includes almost 3 acres. And that takes us to another house. This was where Frank kept his Auspitz cabinet shop, and he operated for over 50 years. Not always at this location. This one's in York, Pennsylvania. And here is a picture of him. He was commissioned to make an 18th century style Bible box for Jackie Kennedy. And apparently there was some concern that the first initial looks like an I instead of a J, but in the 18th century, the letter I was also used for J, so that made it okay. And I wish we had a color picture of it. I couldn't find one, but this is the inside. It was a present for her from the governor, David Lawrence, on January 2nd, 1961, so shortly before the inauguration. And it was made of native walnut and poplar, ash for the herringbone inlay, holly for the line inlay, and maple and cherry for the balls. So very pretty. But the internet doesn't think it held this Bible, which is also kind of famous. It was also an inauguration gift from Cardinal Cushing and stamped January 20th, 1961 on the cover. It was apparently kept on Air Force One, and Jackie noted that it was the Bible we used the night Jack died to choose Ecclesiastes to be read at his funeral. Now, this Bible was auctioned in April 2024, but it doesn't appear that the Bible box was ever put up for auction, which is interesting. So Frank Auspitz also made fine furniture like this, both original designs and reproductions. And so for fun, I found other homes showcasing his green cabinetry and the arched doors in the fireplace surrounds. This one is in Arizona, actually. And this was built in 1822 in York, and he redesigned it. This one is now an event center in Frederick, Maryland. And this one is also in Frederick that he helped renovate. Which reminds me of this joke from the Brady Bunch movie, where we see the different designs that architect Mike Brady used for his different clients. It's a silly joke, I know. Frank Auspitz was obviously much more talented than Mike Brady. And it's obvious why his work is still so valued and appreciated. This particular house sold earlier this year, but others designed by him do pop up on the market occasionally. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And for more content, visit my website, ifitweremine.com.